first, severe weather team coverage of the Florida freeze. And we begin with weather experts Ali Toriano and Danny Trainer live with the latest on all the watches and warnings. Hey, guys.
Good morning.
Hi, it is a little bit on the chilly side out there. And, of course, this was the cold we were worried about mostly for our plants and our pets. And, we had a little wake-up call yesterday, so we got prepared. But the cold that we were experiencing today is a different kind of cold. This is a kind of sneaks up on you. The next thing you know, your ears and your hands are very, very cold.
As soon as you stepped outside yesterday, it was the wind that was the problem. Made it feel a lot colder than those actual temperatures. Well, now this morning, the actual temperatures are just downright cold, and most areas are below freezing.
Right. In fact, hard freeze in many, many locations. Allie's going to point those out to you in just a second here. It is going to be cool this afternoon. You are going to noticeably different and more pleasant. We started warming here this afternoon. We're still going to be chilly tonight, and then, wow, what a weekend we got shaping up for you here in Central Florida.
Wait until you see that forecast. Cannot wait. But until then, this morning, a hard freeze is in place for everyone except southern Brevard. In southern Brevard County, we just have a plain old freeze warning. Bottom line, everyone is going to be at or below freezing for the next several hours. And we do reach those low temperatures right when the sun comes up. And I would not be surprised if a few locations do tie, maybe even break a couple of record lows this morning. Digital Doppler X3 is overall quiet. Watching some clouds in the Atlantic get close to the coastline. If they can actually move to the coast, you folks would be quite lucky in Brevard County. Their temperatures then wouldn't drop as much. Right now it's 35 in Melbourne, but 23 in Ocala. Look at the difference. Unbelievable. And the reason why we have a lighter wind, if not calm wind in Ocala, so there's no wind chill there, but there are winds elsewhere. Even though temperatures are a little warmer along the I-4 corridor and in Brevard County, it still feels like the 20s, and it's all because of this wind that's out of the north and northwest this morning. Bus stop weather forecast, layers once again for the kids. Waking up and heading to the bus stop, temperatures will be at or below freezing, and then we start to see not only sunshine, but lighter winds help warm us back into the upper 50s in most locations. We will get to 59 degrees today in Orlando. Still a cold night tonight, but then by tomorrow afternoon, spectacular forecast. And if you want some 70s, don't worry, they return this weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up at 41 past the hour. Right now, the latest on the roads. Good morning, Ted, Noah.
It's pretty cold out there. You look kind of cold out there, but apparently not enough to damage the crops.
Yeah, fortunately not enough to damage the crops. I'm actually feeling pretty good out here, surprisingly, but it's all because I layered up, and that's the good news, keeping in mind that for your children at home who are going to school, they won't feel so bad when they go out in the cold weather if they do layer up. But I'll tell you what, like you mentioned, temperatures apparently not bad enough to damage the crops, and that's good news here for farmers. We take a look at our super-duper thermometer here. It's, 30 degrees according to this thermometer, and that's at least here in the Claremont area off Highway 27 out in this Tangerine field. Any lower than this, and there could definitely be some problem and some damage to some crops out here because it takes temperatures of 26, 27 degrees or lower, and that has to last 4 to 6 hours, and that's when you start seeing those tangerines freeze on the inside, and that's pretty much when they're done for. Now, to tell you what citrus farmers are doing to protect the crop as a bit of an insurance policy here, each plant has a sprinkler system. It's almost like pumping liquid heat into the area here, and that water then freezes, acting as insulation to the crops. And once the temps go back up to 32 degrees, that's when the citrus farmers will shut the systems off. So at this point, feeling confident that your orange juice is safe. Your tangerines are also safe here because they think that the temperatures not going to go much lower than 29 is about the lowest that they've clocked them at here so far this morning.
Yeah, nobody wants a slushy orange, Mark. But we've been hearing that some citrus farmers say this cold snap is actually helping to a certain degree. Can you explain that?
Yeah, because some of the warm weather actually tricked a lot of the plants into blooming a little bit earlier than usual, and so this cold weather is going to kind of hold some of that back and prevent the rest of those crops from doing just that and blooming a little earlier than usual. So, like you mentioned earlier, it's always nice to have a backup plan, and they certainly want to have some of those crops there in the backup plan just in case we do get some colder temperatures that do damage some crops here down the line.
All right, good news so far. News 13's Mark Jenkins live in Claremont. Count on News 13 severe weather experts to bring you the latest information on the Florida freeze throughout the day. We'll have the most up-to-date forecast every 10 minutes in your Weather on the Ones. And when you're away from your TV, you can get real-time Florida freeze information on our website, cfnews13.com. And while you're there, you can sign up for Weather Alert. Well, that Arctic air has made its way to the Sunshine State. Meteorologist Ali Turiano and Danny Trainer are tracking the Florida freeze. Good time to get out those hats and gloves and scarves and all that good stuff to stay warm.
I'm not going to get out. I'm not going to get out a coat. I'm going to get out coats. So that way I can be in layers. A sweater is a good idea, and then a coat on top of that. Minimize gloves or
Yeah, and a hat keeps the heat in, so that's also good if you have to be outside for at least a period of time this morning.
Hoodies are a big kind of fashion-wise. They're popular here in Central Florida, and you don't see many earmuffs. But you know what? You might want to consider them. Take a look. I know it's a little hard to buy it right at the moment, but take a look at these potential records that are in danger. I don't think we'll set new records. We may tie some. We're on the way right at the moment. It is a very cold air out there, but you know what? It's not as mean-spirited as the one we had yesterday, because yesterday it was the wind that was a factor, and we don't have big winds, but bringing a little wind at all is going to make it feel uncomfortable. We got some clouds looming out here in the Atlantic. It's kind of the contrast between the cold air and some of the warmer temperatures being generated by the ocean. Got a cold front trying to advance from the west. I think it's going to slide around us, so don't expect another big blast of cold air coming into Central Florida. Look at this cool weather temperature things that we got going on today. I don't think it's any surprise, because we certainly had a wake-up call yesterday with that cold air in place. I think it was, get ready, here it comes.
Yeah, and the difference today, Danny, with this high pressure filtering down the peninsula, the wind won't be as strong. It's not as windy this morning. We don't have as many wind chills. And that means we won't have as many this afternoon, so the sun will actually warm us up a bit more, a good 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. That's still below normal, but we're getting there. Now, heading into tonight, not necessarily a good thing with this high over us. Lighter winds, clear skies. It's still going to be cold. I think tonight we run a better chance for frost in a lot of locations. That's something else that could damage our plants. But also, a lot of us will be at or above freezing. I still think a lot of 30s will be out there. Only a few spots will be below freezing, so not as many advisories going into tomorrow morning. But either way, it's still cold. It's all about wearing the layers as those kids get to school. And then as you go through your Thursday afternoon, a gorgeous day. We're back in the 60s, and it's only going to get better heading into the upcoming weekend. Now, it's dry. The humidity is low. We had red flag warnings yesterday. We have a few out there posted for later on this afternoon as well. All that means is that it's not time to be burning fires outside. It's just dangerous in terms of how low that humidity actually is. Temperatures today after this extreme cold this morning, how about 59 in Orlando as well as Melbourne, up to 58 in Sanford, 56 for Daytona Beach and Ocala. And then overnight, it's still cold. A lot of mid-30s, a few locations at or below freezing. Rural into inland Volusia, sections of Lake, Sumter, Marion. I think you'll be closer to that freezing mark, and most likely there we will have some more watches and warnings get posted. And there's a look at your 7-day forecast. 2 mornings of real cold, and then here comes that turnaround for the weekend with above normal conditions and potentially some small rain chances going into next week. Golfers, it's all about the jacket weather and wearing the sunscreen this afternoon. We are back in just a few minutes with another check of your weather on the ones.